What's up everybody, back for another Honkai Star Rail video, and in this video we're going to be going over the new event, particularly the character ticket that you get. Yep, it is time yet again. What 4-star should you pick? Now, I'm going to be real with you. If you've been playing for a while, more than likely this is just going to be a free single, which is really unfortunate. At least it is for me, right? I know a lot of people at this point have most of the 4-stars with very high dupes. So, if they wanted to, Starro, you could add a few more characters to this. I mean, Mose is, he's been out for a minute now, a couple patches, and before that it would be Gallagher, who was pretty long ago. I'm not gonna lie. Just put these more 4-stars, please. Like these tickets are looking sadder and sadder every update. But enough of me complaining. Let's get over. Let's go over. Not get over. Let me get over my sadness. Is really what I should be doing. But let's go over said characters. Now, one character sticks out, which I'm not really gonna talk about, and that is Hook. Hook might as well just be a character who inflicts damage and she's fire. There you go. I said it. I mean, she's a 1.0 DPS who burns, right? But at that point, you might as well just run Guifen, who would, you could probably get Hook to hit harder. But at the end of the day, you would just run a normal, actual, like 5-star DPS over Hook. And if you really needed burns, you would just run Guifen. So unfortunately, Hook is kind of like whatever. The only reason you really should be picking Hook is if one, you don't have her and you want the singles you get from getting her to max level, or you have all three of these characters maxed out and you just want to max her out. So when you do pull her, you can get singles back. Whatever it is, Hook is just not it. Fortunately, unless you're like the biggest Hook fan, you don't have her E6, then I guess go ahead. But Hook, sorry, you don't really cut it, right? So now I'm going over the three actual real characters you would pick. Let's go over Guifen. Guifen is a 4-star Nihility character, which big W there, instantly gives her some bonus points because of the whole running Nihilities with Acheron, right? Now in terms of what she actually does, she inflicts burn, and when you burn the enemy, you apply Fire Kiss. When an enemy is inflicted with Fire Kiss, they have their damage received increased, right? Now I know this is 4%, this is just at level 1, it goes higher, right? This stacks up to 3 times, meaning you would just attack over and over with Guifen, get a max stacks, and then the enemy would just take increased damage, right? Now luckily she has a trace, I believe it's this one, that makes it where her basic attack has a chance to burn the enemy. So you don't even need to use the skill, right? You can just use the basic attack if you need skill points, which is a pretty nice alternative. And then she just has an AoE ult that just does damage based off of their burn, right? Overall, pretty okay 4-star. I'm not going to say she's incredible by any means. Unfortunately, the 4-stars in this game, leave a little to be desired, especially the fact that all of these characters are 1.0 characters. These two are launch characters, and I believe Hana was 1.6 and Guifen was 1.5, if I'm remembering correctly. I do know that they were at near the end of 1.0 patches, but considering we're on 3.0, they're all just old as hell, really. But yeah, anyway, Guifen is a debuff fire unit who increases damage taken to the enemy, or gives damage increase to... How am I trying to word this? You deal increased damage. There we go. Jesus. Oh my god. Anyway, very cool character. Then we have Hana. Hana is an interesting character because her buffs are definitely more on the unique side, but she doesn't really have a place. Her skill makes it to where when you activate it, the next 2 attacks generate skill points. So pretty much you would use this, inflict a debuff, attack, get the skill point back, and then attack again, and then you get an extra skill point, which is pretty cool. One of them is you get energy on one of her traces. Its trigger count for the burn skill recovery effects is 1 or lower. When the enemy is defeated, you get an additional skill point. And the last one is allies triggering burden skill have their attack increase, which is pretty nice. I noticed I didn't go over Guifen's, but hers are just really just action advance and then burn damage, right? Hana's are actually pretty useful for her kit, right? So pretty much skill point generation, very cool. Then her ultimate increases speed and attack for 2 turns for whoever you ult. This is cool because the speed increase is actually pretty big, right? Because it's based on Hana's speed. So if you have Hana really crack down on speed, you'll be giving a nice speed chunk to whoever you're ulting. Fortunately, not a lot of characters are really fiending for this. While it is a good buff, at the end of the day, She's not beating out most of the 5-star characters like Robin, Sunday, Bronya, Sparkle, Ruan May. So it's a little rough, right? But she is a good option if you do need the speed and the skill points. When I've used her, I used her with Donhang to try to help the fact that I don't have Sparkle. If you have Sparkle, Hanya definitely loses a good chunk of value with the whole skill points, because at that point you just run Sparkle. And then with her ultimate, it's like if you need them to attack more, then you would just, action commands with Sparkle. So that is a bit unfortunate for Hanya, but the speed is pretty good. Funny enough, Aglia will like the speed that she gives, so probably test her out with Aglia when she drops. So, sorry, I will test Hanya out when she drops. There we go, and we'll see how it is. But yeah, she just doesn't have the support oomph that some of these other characters have. I mean, it is Honkai support rail, so being a support, you really got to bring it to the table, right? Then we have Ting Yun, who is a support who does bring it to the table. Now, Ting Yun has a skill that increases attack, and then you also get additional damage dealt, right? Then, when you ult, you regenerate 50 energy and increase whoever you ulted's damage, right? This ult is pretty unique because the only other character who does this is Huohuo, which is an AoE energy up, but it's not nearly as much energy. So Tingyun pretty much has a monopoly over the ulting to give characters energy mechanic. No other character does this, so she is pretty valuable. Probably the best 4-star in terms of the OG units. Overall, I think Gallagher is still more useful than her, but I definitely think she's top 3 4-stars in the game. Extremely, extremely strong. Uh, it's really going to take another unit to drop energy to really kill her off. She doesn't really do too much else besides, I guess you could spam basic attack as well. For the rotation, you basic attack, skill, all that until you get your ultimate. So she can generate some skill points. Other than that, her technique also gives her energy, so you can start to fight with your ultimate, which is actually pretty good. A lot of people who zero cycle use this a lot. I don't know if they use this to this day because I don't watch as many zero cycles as I used to, but Tingun is still very strong. In terms of her traces, she gets energy, basic attack, whatever, and then she gets her speed increase after using a skill, which will let her, get more speed to attack more often. In terms of dupes, by the way, nothing really strikes out. Like, there's a lot of decent dupes. I'm really not going to go over them though, mostly because the base character is who you really should be going for. If you use a character, then obviously get their dupes. If you have the other characters maxed out, obviously get their dupes. If you have everyone maxed out, you get a single. But in terms of who you should pick, Tingyun is by far the best option. Then is between Hanya and Guifen. Personally, I think Guifen is more usable. At least I use her a lot more than Hanya. And then you go Hanya, and then Hook is by far the least useful. So if you don't have Ting and E6, get her copies. Then between these two, if you have Ting and E6, then just pick whoever you think you would use more. And then after that, grab Hook, and then if not, just go for the single. Most of the time, if you don't have Ting and E6, you probably just pick her anyway to get the single. I mean, you probably aren't going to be using these two characters. Maybe if you are using Akron and you don't have Pela available using on another team, or um, you know you don't have Pela, I guess you would use Guifen, because at this point you'd probably just use Pela instead of her. So if you have her E6 and you're not using the other characters, you could really just get the single, right? It's really just, do you have Ting on E6? Yes, no. And then that's really the real question, unfortunately. I do wish there was a few more options, or how if they dropped more 4-stars, we'd have more of the 4-star options, right? Like, imagine if we had, like, Mr. Rekka, I think his name was, a 4-star, and he was on this, or Scrulium was on this, or whoever it may be, just, like, drop some 4-stars, Like, come on, Star. Like, every ticket can't just be like, do you have this one character of the bunch? If not, like, who cares? It's rough. But anyway, let me know what you guys picked in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will catch y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching.